All right, we might as well begin. Thanks for checking us out. If you like what we're doing, please like and subscribe. Share our videos. Show us to other people you might know might be interested in the same subject matter. Even if somebody learns one or two new things, it's all worth it to me. That's my main goal, is to teach, to share my knowledge and experience with others. So in the last video, we pretty much got a lot of our manufacturing files laid out. We created the initial BOM from KiCad. Had to export all the BOM data. We cleaned it up. We organized it. We got all the manufacturing files, the Gerbers. We did a review on those using GerbView, just to make sure that the KiCad spit out the files in the proper format, and that there was no issues, that when they get sent to the board house to be manufactured, they're not going to be puked back out, or they're going to give us problems with it. So now, the first thing I want to do before we get too far ahead, one of the things I was trying to figure out, so with an inventory, products, so let's just click on something. So the version of Odo that I'm showing you on the stream and in my videos is newer than the one I've been running for myself. Upgrading to a new version, to be blunt about it, you have to jump through hoops. I mean, come on, Odo, you can do better. You can make the upgrade process more seamless without having to use third-party freaking tools to do it. Come on. But one of the things the older version has is there's usually an option that you get your inventory from manufacturing. Usually a checkbox or something. I think it was a checkbox. And I am not seeing that here, so hopefully it recognizes it once we generate a bill of material. But before that, there's a few other things I want to take care of on the BOM here. So imagine for a minute, this is the BOM that you are going to send. Let's say you're just going to design, but you're going to send the boards out to an alternative manufacturer to actually get manufactured. So this is like the BOM that you would send over. So I'm going to change that to internal part number. That way it does not mess with the manufacturing company. And we're going to add a couple additional things to this BOM. A couple of things that KiCad did not know to spit out and give to us. So one of the things we're going to want is, let's go to KiCad schematic, is RS-45. So we've identified a 2-pin header that we want a jumper on. So I think it's prudent and the right thing to do is to include a jumper with the board if we're going to ship a finished product out. So we're going to go here and we're going to see if we can find a jumper here. Jumper, let's see, 2-position jumper. So we're going to see what we can find. Nope. That's not what we're looking for. That's 10-to-1 says that's not what we're looking for. Let's look at the data sheet, because I bet you 10-to-1 that is a for jumper connections 2.54. Okay, so that is exactly what we're looking for. 23 cents per unit. Okay, it's non-stocked. Now, yes, I'm not gonna. I know what a lot of people are gonna say. Oh, you can buy these off of Amazon by the bagfuls for cheap. But as I've explained earlier, you do not want to rely on Amazon for long-term viability for a product, because a lot of the vendors, Amazon themselves typically does not manufacture, or they're not an approved vendor for a lot of these companies. So what you're going to find are individuals such as myself, or and I'm just going to use this term, I'm just going to be honest, a fly-by-night company based overseas. They're just going to create these weird names, these weird company names on Amazon. They're going to put products up there. You know, you're going to get an incredible deal for a bag of products, for a bag of these jumpers, but you're not going to get any kind of guarantees. You're not going to get you're not going to be able to get a CFC. You're not going to be able to get any support or anything. You're not going to be guaranteed that they don't use conflict minerals or anything else. And those type of companies tend to fade away. They disappear. They'll disappear. And then you have to find another company. You'll have to buy them from somebody else. So it's great for prototyping in small batches, you know, a stopgap. But I do not rely on Amazon. If you are looking to build an actual company, and you may actually become ISO certified, there are things you're going to have to make sure you do. And one of those things is you just have to be willing to pay a little bit more for reliable products from manufacturers that you can trace, and you get help and all the certifications you may be required to do. Because again, if you start stepping into aerospace, military, medical, or even other higher end companies, large, Fortune 500 companies, they're going to have totally different expectations from you than just, oh, hey, I sell stuff on Etsy. That's not what they want. They want a company that's willing, a partner that's willing to provide reliable products on time, and that meets all these guidelines. Yes, you may save some money now, but you'll pay for it later if you're not careful. So I would definitely, it stings, 23 cents per unit for a jumper. But unfortunately, now, DigiKey might have them. They might, but I'm not sure. So this is a 2-position, 2.54 millimeter jumper. So what we want to do is we want to throw this onto the BOM. So jumper. So you don't have to leave this designator. So jumper 4. And let's find here. It's easier to find the designator on the schematic. J1. So we'll just say jumper for J1. J1. We need 1. Let's give it an internal part number. I'm all over the place here. So here's the manufacturer part number. Now these are generics. So we can actually kind of give this a generic part number in case we find a jump. Let's see. JMP 2 pause 254. So that is the vendor part number. Oh, let me unhide. Okay. And we're going to paste just the text. Wait a minute, it didn't copy it, my bad. So that's the manufacturer part number. And who makes it? JST Commercial. Mauser. Let's find their part number. All right. 23 cents and 111. All right, so okay. I don't know why that Copied all that down. Oh no, it's over here. My bad. Okay. Let's get this to match. Okay. And yes, we need to put this in Odo. It's annoying, but it's something that needs to be done. New. So it's going to be sellable, but it's going to be part of an assembled whole. So it's something we're going to purchase. Oop. Okay. Technically, it's a connector, but we can call it a connector because technically that's what it is for a connector. So yeah, we'll call it a connector. Wrong button. I didn't mean that. So used to Excel. So let's get over here. I'm getting ahead of myself. My bad. So it's a jumper. One row, 2.54 millimeter. Negative 55, 125. See. Try not to bore you with all the information, but unfortunately, we have to do this. We're going to make sure 3 amp. You never know, that might become relevant. And you'll see why we're doing all this. It'll all make sense. I promise. It'll all make sense. Okay, up like that. So now we've already entered. So let's go here. So that's for that jumper. So we've already entered the mate for these, so we don't have to really add it to Odo, but we need to add it to the BOM. So let's go find this part in Odo. Connectors. There's TBP 04P1. 04P1. 002. Okay. All right. So we need to go back here and edit into. So what I'm going to do is, so you don't have to see. No, we want that. Okay. Let's see. Plug for. Make sure we know what part it is. CN1. CN1. There's one of them. We already have a part number for it. An internal part number. It's going to be, should be same sky. All right. Their part number. We should actually, if we pop it out of here, there we go. My bad. All right. So we should be able to pull it out of here. Manufacturer part number. Yeah, let's just do that because it'd be faster. My bad. And Mauser. All right. 33 and 128. All right. I might have to fix the rounding in Excel or LibreOffice to have that precision in decimal places. I mean, you don't have to. You can let it round up because, you know, we don't fractionalize our cents that way. It's all digital. So letting it round up might give you a better idea, which is fine. We will let that be. Plug for CN1. All right, so that's the plug for CN1. Is there anything else on here that we need to worry about? No. ESP32, there's no plugs. And that's a header. It's going to be for like a FTDI interface. So now here we have this guy. All right, I've already screwed up. Don't mind me. Don't mind the idiot in the room. So it's the mate. Let's fix my mistake before it gets too far out of hand. Yeah, 2PE, 76 cents. Okay, and the Mauser part number. Yeah, because that's pluggable terminal block. Okay. Yep, blue plastic screw terminals. Okay. Isn't this fun? Aren't you glad you want to be start a business like this? Now, I'm sure there are better tools, better software packages, some of the higher end ERP, MRP software packages, but again, those type of packages you're going to pay for. You're going to have a monthly subscription fee at minimum, and it's going to be per seat that can handle and manage all this. I'm mainly just doing this to show you what it's like for you know, somebody starting out who doesn't have a ton of money. You know, we're not all rich. So that's the mate for that guy. All right. So RS-45, we have this guy. All right. Okay. Let's go back into Odo. And that is the same series, but 3BE. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. All right. Manufacturer part number. Right. To Odo. $1.06. And that is plug for CN2. It's one of them. All right. Again, this would be a BOM that you would send over to a manufacturing house that's going to handle all the board assembly and test, you know, basic testing, and ship you basically completed boards for you to test, package and ship. I mean, that way it's all together. I just want to show you this way, and then we'll go in and we'll build the bombs in Odo to get ready for manufacturing. It's a process. It really is. So our limit switches. So it's the same with the 4BE. Okay. Copy that. Manufacturer part number. Okay. $38. And plug for CN 3 and CN, I think it's 4, but CN4. All right, go back to our schematic. No pluggables, nothing there. We need external. All right, and then, and then CN6. Good, we don't have to duplicate ourselves. CN3, CN4, and CN6. So there's actually 3 of them. All right. So that's added to that bomb. We need that. We can close. I'm not going to save any changes because I might have accidentally done something I don't want to save. We're not revising the schematic or anything as of yet. All right. So now, actually, no, there's one thing I want to grab. My mistake. Off of the step driver. Where is it? Oh, that'd be CN7. CN6 is a different one. CN7. All right, so CN6. Okay, CN6. That is the connector for the fan. Plug CN6. There's going to be one of them. And have we added it? PHR4. No, we did not. I thought I already added it. So let's make sure. Make sure we've got that. Okay, PHR4. So it's a plug. It's a JST plug. All right. So let's get it added to Odo. All right. It's 10 cents for one of them. Category, connectors, reference. Plug. JST. PH series. Okay, not a whole lot of details, but that's fine. I know that's going to be RoHS. Pretty much everything JST makes is RoHS. Plug JST 4-circuit P8 series. All right, purchase. Mauser. I'm going to save that. Add that to the BOM. And that's the manufacturer's part. Don't know why. Oh. Yeah. HR4. Yeah. Okay. Terminals for CN6 plug. We know there's going to be 4 minimum needed for this build, but we have the part numbers for them. So while we put everything here, it makes it a little bit easier to reference. You know, that's the vendor part number or the manufacturer part numbers. Let's go ahead and grab that here. All right. So we need to give this guy a new product because it's going to be a trackable inventory item. PT, plug terminal. $0.13. Stop doing that to me. Category, technically connector. How do we want to reference this? It's let's look at the data sheet. It is a crimp. Okay. It's pH. So what we can do is we can find this in here. In this data sheet, to see of all this information. Okay. Here we go. Contacts. Okay, SP02T. Okay. Here's our our connector size. Okay. So terminal crimp JST PH series. It may work with others, but I think it only works with the PST series or the PH series. And that particular one is a crimping machine. Fortunately, I have a hand crimper from a kit I bought off Amazon. I will link that, because it does have a hand crimper that you can use. So it's 28 to 24 AWG. AWG. We're given our here we go. 250 volts, 3 amps. Anything else? That's fine. All right, purchase. Well, Stop clicking the wrong buttons. I'm an idiot. That's for one. Very sad that the terminals to go into the header, the plug, are more expensive than the plug by itself. But again, right, that quantity, you could get them pretty good. 1,000. But we will cover all that in everything else that we're doing. So make sure that's in here. So let's finish adding that to our BOM. All right. Again, this does not take any price breaks into account, because even at 10 we get a price break, and we're definitely gonna order more than 10. We're probably looking at around 100 or so to start with, just to handle losing the little guys. So let's see here. So that'll be, now there's one other part to this that we want to make sure we get on the BOM, and that is the fan itself. Hopefully they still have the fan. Yes, they do. All right. The DC fan. All right. So we're going to throw it on here. Fan 1. V1. Fan DC 5 volts. 40 by 40 millimeters. Forty millimeters. PWM. That's going to be our internal part number. And the butt. New. Sales. 1063. Okay. Let's go. Let's thermal management. Category. Goods. Save. Reference. Fan. DC. 5 volts. 40 millimeter by 40 millimeter by let's get the thickness of this guy. 10.6 millimeter. All right. TAC PWM. 10 CFM. Do we have a current rating? Got 1.2 watts max, which is not really that much. Take a peek at the data sheet. Let's see if it gives us an actual file. Let's say max. We'll go and put the max, basically a quarter of an amp. Let's just, to cover your bases. You always want to make sure you cover your bases, when you're designing. Is there anything else about that fan we could look at? Anything else about it here? No. We are delicious there, all right? It's going to be Mauser. Get rid of that. 1063. Save that. No, did we already? We already got that. Even same sky. Grab their part number. Grab Mauser's part number. And 1063. All right. So that should be everything thus far for the BOM that we can think of. Now, if we design an enclosure for this, which we probably will, let's throw a hypothetical out there. Well, let's just say right now, let's say we design like a little enclosure for this, mainly to hold the fan or something to help hold the fan. All right. It can be an open enclosure. We'll figure something out when we get it. Something to help hold the fan. That way it can direct the airflow over the stepper driver. You'll want to include that part number for that enclosure on the BOM too, even if it's something that gets sent out and manufactured by a third party, like a injection molding company or a 3D print farm or whatever you want to do, or machined or manufactured in a way, shape, or form. It should have a part number in your system as well. And I'm sure if we design one, we'll add it to here. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So everything's okay here. So we've got that. We're going to assume our BOM is built up. Let's see here. Excuse me. 57. Yeah, I'm not going to like this number. All right. So that's just a preliminary. Like I said, that doesn't take any quantity breaks on parts. Like these resistors, you're going to see quantity breaks. But it's going to sting. This kind of work, this kind of development is not cheap. And if you're serious about wanting to do this, it's not going to be cheap. It's going to, you know, the cheap stuff you buy on Amazon or Wish or Temu. As far as selling on the market, I can't tell you yet until we build up the BOMs and kind of figured it out, because there's a lot that goes into it. Just for YouTube, member has asked in chat how much I would sell the device for. So there's actually a lot that goes into figuring out your market value. And the proper way to do it, not to get into too involved right now, because we will be covering that down the road. But you would need to know something like what's called your burdened labor rate. So let's say hypothetically you had a company and you're manufacturing these and you are selling this product yourself, and you have employees that work for you. So there's in the industry, there's something that's called the burden labor rate. So what it does is it takes into account not only the hourly equivalent salary that you pay your employee. Typically, you would look at your maximum pay that you pay for like the technicians or the assembly techs. And you would just use that as your baseline. You wouldn't try to factor in like this person makes 18, this person makes 20. You would say, okay, in my assembly line, my highest paid person is $20 out. I'm just throwing that out there. So you would take their labor rate, and then you need to factor in your overhead. How much does the electricity cost? You need to factor in use a little bit for the other members of your team. If you've got like a purchaser, if you've got marketing, you have to factor in their costs because they're part of this. Everything that they do accumulates. You can get online and Google burden labor rate to understand that. So it's a more complicated calculation I'm throwing out. It takes some thought, but hypothetically, or realistically, it's just you. So the first thing you want to do is figure out what you would assume your hourly rate is. And then you also have to take into consideration, if you're building these by hand, by yourself, it's going to take you longer. And, how much are you willing to sell it for versus, what you put into it. And you don't want to short sell yourself. Never short sell yourself. Because if this is a new product, something new you're designing, that they can't find this specific thing on Amazon for, don't be afraid. And I'm going to be truthful with everybody out there. The cheap stuff you see on Amazon coming out of China that undercuts the American, the markets. It's just highly unfair. But when you look at high level products, let's say high level automation products, there's a reason PLCs can easily cost tens of thousands of dollars. Companies will pay for that if they want it, because the product quality is there from a company, like Rockwell Automation or Allen Bradley. Companies will pay for it. If you provide a product that somebody's looking for, people will pay for it. Don't short sell yourself, and don't tape dollar bills to everything you ship out the door. That's not how you build a business. You don't give people money just to take your product. You don't pay them to take stuff from you. So we will get into how to figure out our costs down the road, and Odo will help us and things like that. Because then we can factor in things like landing costs for the goods. Basically, we need to factor in our shipping charges, how much it's going to cost us to have things shipped. Any tariffs, we have to make sure that all that's accounted for. So yeah, right now this is just a rough shot calculation. How much it's going to cost us per board. And there's a whole bunch of other calculations we can do, other spreadsheets we can generate. But again, so something like this board, we're probably talking, over $100 for. I'm probably talking maybe $150 for it. But I'm not 100% sure because we're not there yet. Because like I was saying, let's just take a random part on here, like this guy. Well, let's look here. We've got, 17 cents here for low quantities, but when we start getting into higher quantities, we get these price breaks. We have to factor that in with these price breaks. This one resistor right here, yeah, it costs us 11 cents for one, but when we start ordering the thousands, we're only going to pay a penny. So we'll get to that later in other videos. We'll figure all that out. So we've got this BOM built up. And like I said, this is if you were going to send this out to a third party to have these boards manufactured from you. If you're going to do that, I would also suggest you would make sure you have alternative vendors in case there are supply chain shortages, because that does happen. One of the good things is, see, what's great about companies like Mauser and even DigiKey is they'll give you right here how many they can ship today or tomorrow, depending on what time you order, because there's usually an order cutoff time. And then they'll give you like how many, a lot of times how many they're expecting and when. So you can kind of plan around this, but you definitely want to have alternative vendors like DigiKey, Newark. And then when you get into large quantity orders, you can look at like Arrow or Future Electronics, the companies that, when you're buying like 5 reels of the same part, when you're buying 10 reels, when you're getting in like 10 huge boxes of stock of inventory, you're going to want to start working with the bigger companies, But for guys like us doing this starting out, we have to kind of pay attention to what could be a shortage issue. And pay attention to the news too, because if you see like an earthquake or a fire, another natural disaster, civil unrest somewhere, or labor shortages, slowdowns, that can shift these markets in a heartbeat. I don't know how many remember this, but years ago, ages ago, we're talking decades. In the early years of the IT industry, I remember that RAM prices for computers like skyrocketed overnight because of an earthquake taking out a memory chip plant. I mean, they like went 10 times the value they were the night before, simply because one of the manufacturing plants was damaged by an earthquake. And you have to factor that in. You know, be prepared with alternative vendors and suppliers. So we've got this built up. Here comes the real fun part. We've got to build up other BOMs for our systems tracking. So the last time we entered the bare PCBs, so we know we have a bare PCB we need for this product. We also started creating some basic, we have SMT level assembly. I didn't add, I thought I added another one for assembly level. I must not have added one for assembly level, but that's okay. We'll do that later because we'll start here at least with the SMT level and you'll get the gist of it. And then we'll jump into the next one. So we have SMT level assembly. So basically this is just the assembly parts thrown on this board. So here we go in here. And what's cool about this is in Odo or in other systems, you have bill of materials. Click that. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new bill of materials for this. Leave that alone. We're going to assume that this bill of materials only builds one board, one product. So if you panelize, you can set your manufacturing orders in a multiple of however many boards are on your panel. So right here, BOM type, it's a manufacturer. That's what we're going to do. This is where things are going to get tedious, and I know. So what we do is we take, so this is SMT, remember. This has nothing to do with, so we're going to do PCB. We want to make sure we have the bare PCB selected. We have one. And then basically what we're going to do is go through our BOM here. I'm going to drag this to my other monitor because switching back and forth is going to be a royal pain in the rear. So what we're gonna, well, I'll just do at least one part here. So we'll look at this capacitor. So I'm just gonna copy that. That's why I'm gonna put that over the other monitor when I'm done. Add a line, capacitor, and there's 4. Okay. Now what I'll do a lot of times is I'll just fill it with just a color so I know I did it already. Grab that guy, go back to here. And how many did it say it were? There were 11. Okay. And this guy, we know that's a SMT part. So again, we're only putting SMT parts on here. All right. And there are 4 of them. Now, maybe somebody who's programming capable, who can handle Python scripting and interfacing with apps like this, could create a plugin for Odo to read a bill of materials and kind of help pull it into a bill of materials here. I would love to be able to do that. That would be a cool feature to have. But unfortunately, we don't have that. I don't have that. So I have to do everything by hand. Good thing is, once it's done, it's done. And wrong button. 5 of them. No, it did not keep it. Don't do that to me, computer. Come on, let's play nice. Play nice. Kind of zoom in a little bit because we don't need all the information. And there's 2 of them. All right, so you get the gist of what I'm doing. So I'm just going to draw this to my other screen so I don't have to toggle back and forth. Because it's going to be the same stuff over and over again. Just copy and paste. Again, nothing else but the Breadboard and SM2 parts. Oh, that's what happened. I hit the delete key. I hit the delete instead of that. One of them. One of them. Okay. So no through-hole parts. We won't do anything through-hole. So I'm going to ignore them on the BOM for now. Because that's going to go into a separate BOM in Odo. And I'll explain, hopefully it'll all make sense once things start getting more tied together. Once you see how things work. That's the USB connector. All right, that is the JST connector. That's surface mount. That's only one of them. Okay. Green LEDs. We got two of them. D3. Got only one of them. Our TBS diodes. Five of them. See, the reason I'm doing this is so Odo is great for tracking. Only one of them. Part status, work order status. It can help you just organize yourself a little bit better. Helps removes the potential to get scatterbrained. Here's the USB32. And it'll be a lot easier to know what you have on hand. Especially if you start actually selling these and you need to make more of them. All right. And I'll be honest, for a project for this, like this, for a YouTube, for a video series, this is rather ambitious. But, as they say, go big or go home, right? Not worth doing. Okay. Okay, that is a through-hole part. That, I think, is a through-hole part, yeah. If it's not, I can always fix my mistakes later. One, these are, yeah, usually the connectors are going to be through-hole parts. Did I not throw this in? I found a part that I messed up on. I never added the inductors to Odo. I will flag this. I will take care of that on my own time. I don't want to bore anybody. All right. I'll take care of that on my own time. I'll add that to Odo and fix this later. Opto isolators. There's 6. Yeah. So if you see it asking to create it, if there's nothing there, then that means you forgot to create it in Odo. And I did, apparently. All right, so there are 2 of these guys. One of those. One of those. So that's just another thing that's great. So we created that bomb. Oh, see, another part I forgot to add. I will accept that as my mistake. Flag it as red so I can go back and fix it. Again, on my own time. Yeah, so if it wants to create and edit, that means I forgot to add it in here. There's one of them. And then there's 6 of these guys. Six of those guys. And, my goodness. Goodness, because I make such mistakes. Easy to do. It's easy to be pushing through things and not see that you, one of them. Again? Jeez Louise, I am on a losing roll here. I can't believe I'm doing this badly. Oh well. You know what? Name of the game. There's 2 of them. And it's fine because once I get this centered, I'll show you where the value comes in. Because it's fine that I can update things later and Odo's great, it'll carry it forward. Okay. One of them. All right. Okay, these are the little push button switches that I really like. There's 2 of them. All right. All right, so let's see. The test points are left. The circuit board I already threw on here. Jumpers, pluggables, those are later. Fan, later. Jumper, okay. So I'll go through and fix that on my own time, but for now, because I can fix this later and all that. So we have all our quantities in here. We're going to save that bill of materials. So now it shows we got a bill of materials here. Now, I'm going to minimize that. So there's a couple of other options I enabled in Odo that I want to kind of really cover real quick. So I just want to show them real quick before I forget. So as far as inventory is concerned, so it's under your settings. You have to be logged in with administrative access in Odo to do this. Inventory, I made sure I opted to choose lots and serial numbers for traceability. That'll help cover an ISO requirement for traceability. Landed costs. So this will hopefully help add, value when we start receiving parts in, and it can calculate shipping charges to figure out how to work. how to work that. And then storage locations. So I created some storage locations. So basically this is where to put stuff. I haven't started using it yet because we have to go through and click each part. So we're going to call that SMT level assembly. So let's go back to general settings, make sure there's nothing else I need to show you. So yeah, storage locations. That should be good there. Manufacturing, work orders and work centers. I enabled that. Unlock manufacturing orders. You want, just make it easy to adjust quantities. In a regular working environment, you probably will not want regular users to be able to do that. The great thing about systems like this is they're permissions based. So users with the right permissions can do what they need to do. Okay, so I just want to cover those few things you want to make sure it's checked. So let's go back to our inventory. Products. And let's go to SMT level assembly. Click on that. So there should be a put away rule when product arrives in. So we're going to create a in stock store to SMT level assembly. So this way you can designate target storage areas for products. So if you have bins, shelves, anything you want to, it's good to designate areas. So one of the other things I'm going to advise you, if you want to do this, come up with a storage and organization method. Have a spot for everything. Make sure you have, sufficient enough work area, storage area. Fortunately for me, in my house, I have a workshop in the basement. My office is in the basement. So there's actually two separate locations. So in my workshop, I can actually have like an inventory storage. I have a bunch of shelves in there I've been kind of setting up and cleaning up. I'll get some hopefully pictures and or video of both spaces once I get them organized better and cleaned up a little bit better. When you organize things, you always have the sacrificial rooms that kind of collect everything while you're organizing and cleaning other areas. And unfortunately, my workshop and office became those areas. So just a lot of little things to do. So here we're telling this that once we've manufactured this product and we tell the system it's good, this is where we're supposed to put it. And we'll cover more of that down the road. So right there, so products, so that's the put away rules. Okay, what's great about this, it's showing nothing on hand because we technically should not have anything on hand. And the other thing is go back in here. So here's something else too, compute price from BOM. So again, this is just for the SMT level. It's going to be different than the Excel spreadsheet, because it's not also including the pluggables and the fan, the other stuff we just added. But what's cool about that is, let me drag that out of the way, is as we work this up to the next level, which is going to be assembly level, we'll put that together in the next video. Like I said, on my own time, I'll go through and I'll clean up the things that I forgot to add to Odo. I'll get those added, those part numbers added and everything. And it could recalculate this, but this is cool. It'll calculate this. Again, that's just a rough general. Yeah. So we can, this will help us with our sales price down the road, but you'll see more of that. So one of the things I want to briefly cover on, I'll close the Excel sheet, is where a lot of this is going to come in handy. So we're going to go here to manufacturing. So when I personally design and go to build products, I typically want to build just one, a pilot board. I want to, build it, see how it works, do the basic bench testing, the smoke test, do some basic measurements to make sure nothing's out of whack. That way I use minimal parts, and if something's wrong, I've wasted as little as possible, as little of my time, as a little bit of material. So here under Odo, we have the manufacturing. We're going to create a new order, and we're going to do SMT level assembly. We're going to build one. And what's cool, so this is where the power of this system is going to come in handy. You're going to have the BOM fill up in here. So let's see here. We're going to do one. It's pulling from that bill of materials, which is awesome. Who's responsible? So if you had a company with operators, SMT line, you can assign that. Scheduled date. I am just going to throw this way into the future. I am just going to choose just some ungodly time. That way it's not flagged as being late or behind. We could adjust this when we get closer to show you, because you can use scheduling without paying for the enterprise level of Odo. You don't really have the work order scheduling that you do, but you can kind of, if you have multiple products, multiple lines, you can use spreadsheets and other things, but use whatever tools you have to help. So it's draft. We're going to just leave it in draft because I need to go through and fix all those things. So we're just going to go and save it, leave it as draft. They're not going to confirm it. But one of the cool things is it shows how many parts you need to consume out of inventory, and it's going to give you a status. It's going to tell you that you don't have the parts on hand. And as you go through the process of completing these work orders and building the boards, it's going to consume these parts from inventory, and it'll be able to tell you what you're missing for another work order. So we're going to leave this in the draft stage. So we should have this. Here we go. Start next year. Again, we'll fix that later, but we can click on there and it's going to show us what we need to order. Now, Odo is supposed to have the ability to be able to automatically start purchase orders, but I haven't figured out how to do that. So what we're going to do there. Okay, here we go. Work orders, miscellaneous, add line, work order. Work order. Okay, we might have to figure this out. Okay, time tracking components, expected duration. So the cool thing is you can use this to start doing time studies on. And that's great for planning, resource allocation. I've had to do a bunch of time studies in the past at other places I've worked. It's essentially taking a process and using a stopwatch and figuring out how long it takes somebody to build, to do a specific task. And you try to average that and kind of figure out, an optimal based off of what your technicians can actually do. And then this can help with resource planning and allocation. So once you get a good general idea that it's going to take somebody, let's say, an hour to build one board. Let's just throw that out there because it's hand placed right now. It may not take that long. Then you can plan, well, if I've got 5 boards, it can take up to 5 hours to build. This way you can just plan more efficiently, more effectively. It's just a tool for advanced planning down the road. Not going to be terribly worried about that. I got to kind of figure out what this work order means here. I know what this means. So SMT, so start date. Okay. So that's when you want to start the work order. Okay. I didn't think I had work orders with this version of Odo's, but apparently I do. I'll have to look more into that, make sure, because I don't want to see creating work orders when I don't have that ability to really do anything with them. So manufacturing order, unless, work orders. Okay, so apparently I do have the ability for work orders. Products, bills of materials, lot serial numbers, work centers. Okay. Well, we may have to go deeper into that. Yeah. Don't mind me. I haven't fully utilized the full power of Odo. There's a lot to it. A lot to dig in. So we will call it here. We're about an hour into the video and I don't want to linger too long. So like I said, I'll fix the mistakes I made. which will allow us to redraft this and re-update all the component statuses. It'll also allow us to go back here to SMP level assembly and update the compute price for this BOM. So it'll allow us to do that. So we'll do that. We'll get all that done. We'll create the next BOM level, which would be assembly level for this board. So there'll be a whole new category for assembly level, board assembly. And then I'm going to create another BOM level for finished goods. So the next level, the assembly level, would be the part where you take one of these boards that are completed. So it's going to force it to follow a chain of command. Take one of these boards, and then all of the stuff that's through hole. And then all of the additional components, such as the plug and the terminals, and you consume those to actually make the fan assembly. There's something else we could do if we really, really, really wanted to. We can actually create the fan as an assembly that uses the PHR4 connector with these terminals to have the labor to crimp them and put them into the plug header. We can do that. Then what we can also do is create a separate schematic for it, or a drawing. That would be the proper way to have that as a sub-assembly, and then that sub-assembly basically be as an entry into here. In the Odo as its own separate BOM, and then it can be added to the assembly level so that's something we would probably do. Technically, that's the proper way to do things. If you have things that are sub-assemblies or would require additional manufacturing process, that's what you would want to do. Is actually have them as separate BOM items, as separate inventory items. That way you can track all of your labor, all your material usage more properly, your workstation effectiveness, because you wouldn't, or if you decided to outsource and have that fan assembly made by somebody else, company that specializes in that, you'd want to track all that. You would definitely probably have a separate part number for it. So we'll go from there. I think that's what we'll do. We'll figure out how we want to add that. So we'll probably have a goods / sub-assembly option and put the fan in there and create the BOM around that. So yeah, okay. All right, so this is what we're going to cover next time. Let's see, today's Wednesday, today is Wednesday, so there'll be a Friday stream. Friday, probably Saturday. Hopefully by Saturday, Sunday, we can actually getting the POs created and ordering the parts. Get that process going, get the materials in here. Again, it's going to take week and a half before materials come in, so I'll be able to have a couple of videos and streams dedicated to catching up on to the QMS stuff and the project management stuff, the stuff we should have been doing all along, but that's that's me. So, all right. Well, thanks for tuning in, checking us out. I will catch you guys later, and have a nice rest of your day. You too.